Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Unacademy IAS, a one-stop destination for all the English medium civil services aspirants. Just now, Finance Minister has presented the Union Budget for the financial year 24 and 25. And I, Shyam Kaggod, will be providing you the first impression or the first reaction to the very important announcements done by the Finance Minister. But before that, another very important announcement. To get the full-fledged analysis of the Union Budget which has been announced just now, please do join us 8 p.m. today in this very same YouTube channel. Not to miss this, please hit the subscription button and keep the notification on so that when I along with Sarmat sir, along with Chetan sir, when I take up this particular session live, all of you will be notified. So hit that subscription button and keep the notification as well on. Now to just summarize certain very important announcements done by the Finance Minister, here are these. First, in the important area of agriculture sector. I know most of you will be interested in income taxes. I'll come to that in the next discussion. Do not worry. The first very important area of agriculture sector, because the Finance Minister in the beginning itself stated that inflation has been one of the focus areas of the government, and many measures which have been undertaken by the government has helped controlling inflation in the last 1 year. Post-pandemic, because of various instances, external factors, internal factors, inflation was out of the control. But in recent times, the core inflation as well as the headline inflation has been under control. Now, what are the important announcements done by the Finance Minister in the agriculture sector? First one, the minister announced that farmers will be identified and natural farming would be promoted. Natural farming would be promoted. This is one very important announcement. Now, how many farmers, how many villages, how they will be selected, etc. Do attend the detailed discussion today evening at 8 p.m. We will have a discussion there. So first very important area, natural farming would be promoted now. Second, national cooperation, national policy for cooperation or cooperatives in essence. So the national policy for cooperation or the cooperatives would be laid out by the government. In addition to this, the Finance Minister also announced Atmanirbharata, and this was one of the expected areas as such. The Finance Minister announced Atmanirbharata or self-reliance. Self-reliance in terms of production of pulses, oilseeds. Production of pulses as well as oilseeds. So in terms of both of them, production would be promoted. Already there's a scheme regarding this, national national policy for promotion of oilseeds and oil palm. Now further more emphasis will be provided to promote more and more production of pulses as well as oilseeds so that import dependence will come down. In addition to this, the Finance Minister also laid emphasis within the agriculture sector regarding climate resilient crops. Climate resilient crops. The argument is very simple. In order to increase the production, by increasing the productivity, you need to cultivate more and more, invest more and more in R&D and produce more and more types of the varieties which are climate resistant. So climate resilient crops, more than 100 crops would be introduced which can be used by the farmers, cultivated by the farmers, which will increase the production as well as productivity. These are certain important announcements in agriculture sector. Second, the one that you are expecting the most, the taxation area. The taxation area, what are the important announcements are done within the realm of taxation, within the area of taxation? First one, slabs have been changed. I hope you understand this. The slabs have been changed for all the taxpayers who are adopted or who have used or who are decided to pay the taxes under the new tax regime. The slabs have been changed. As a result of this, Now the taxpayers who have opted to pay the taxes under the new tax regime, they will be paying lesser amount of taxes. According to the speech of the finance minister, these taxpayers, they'll be paying somewhere around 17,000 rupees lesser with the change in the slabs. That's the first one. Second one, the angel tax, the bone of contention that has created problems for the startups, which many of the experts were demanding that should be removed. The angel tax stands to be removed now. The finance minister announced that angel tax, which was introduced a decade ago, which will impose a lot of taxation on the startups in India, that would be withdrawn henceforth. That's a second very important announcement within the taxation. Third very important announcement, the standard deduction. The standard deduction. The standard deduction for the salaried employees was 50,000 rupees, which essentially means some of the expenditures that you would be incurring for healthcare, etc., without having to provide for any proof, you could simply claim this deduction. This would reduce the taxable income. Now, this standard deduction has been increased from 50,000 rupees to 75,000 rupees, which will also provide benefit to the taxpayers, thereby reducing the taxable income. And the fourth very important announcement within the taxation is the announcement of revamping Income Tax Act of 1961. Earlier itself, before this government, when there was a UPA government, there was the announcement of revamping of the income taxes or the complete taxation system. One was basically the direct taxes code, which was proposed to restructure as a solution to the Income Tax Act of 1961. And there was revamping of indirect taxes through the GST. GST has been implemented. The direct taxes code, which was to replace the Income Tax Act 1961, was not implemented. Now the finance minister says they are going to have a review of all the provisions of the Income Tax Act of 1961 so that the taxes or the whole system is made easier, the compliance can be increased, and the disputes can be reduced as well. So these are the certain very important announcements within the area of taxation. The third area, employment. Another very, very important area, employment. What has been announced by the finance minister regarding employment? The government wants to create more and more jobs. And earlier schemes are there which are targeted at skilling, which are targeted at providing employment, etc. Continuing the trend of these announcements, the finance minister has announced the Employment Linked Incentive, ELI, Employment Linked Incentive. There are three sub-programs or basically three schemes which have been implemented to initiate the idea of an Employment Linked Incentive, Scheme 1, 2, 3 or ABC, which we'll discuss in detail in the evening. But ultimately, the agenda of the government is simple. They want to provide a lot of incentives to the industries and thereby create a lot of jobs. That is the first one. Second one, regarding employment itself, lakhs of apprentices, lakhs of, let's say, trainees will be hired by the companies now. They'll be trained in these companies for duration of 1 year, and the government would be providing certain incentives so that these trainees or the apprentices would be getting the real life experience of how the company is actually working, what kind of work is there, what kind of skill sets they are supposed to have, etc., etc. That's a second very important initiative under the concept of employment. The next important area, the fourth one, MSMEs, micro, small, medium enterprises, MSMEs. Finance Minister in the speech has recognized the importance of MSMEs in terms of GDP contribution, in terms of manufacturing contribution, in terms of exports as well as employment. But in the recent years, the MSMEs have been facing a lot of issues. That's a fact, by the way. Now, to address the issues faced by the MSMEs, announcements have been done in the budget. There is a scheme called as Mudra Yojana, Prime Minister Mudra Yojana, Micro Units Development Refinancing Agency. Under the Mudra Yojana, there are three types of loan products: Shishu, Kishore and Tarun. The government now says, if you are a borrower under the Mudra Yojana and you have promptly repaid the loans, then the limit of the Mudra Yojana loan, which was maximum 10 lakh rupees until now under Tarun category, 10 lakh rupees until now under Tarun category, would be doubled to 20 lakh rupees. Will be doubled to 20 lakh rupees. This will help MSMEs to borrow more and more money if they are a prompt repayment entities. Second, regarding MSMEs, the government says there is a platform called as a TREDS platform. TREDS, TREDS platform, Trade Receivable E-Discounting System. Under the TREDS platform, there are financiers, there are companies such as MSMEs, and there are CPSEs which have purchased the, let's say, raw material from the MSMEs, etc. Under the TREDS platform, if an MSME sells the good to, let's say, a company, now this company has to guarantee the repayment by agreeing to the conditions on the platform. And if the company, let's say, if the MSME which has given let's say, which has sold the raw material is in immediate requirement of funding, they require the funds right now. Rather than waiting for the due date, they can get the financing done by the third party here, which are financiers. Until now, the turnover criteria for TREDS platform was 500 crore rupees. The turnover criteria applicable for inclusion into the TREDS was 500 crore rupees. Now, this has been reduced to 250 crore rupees. It has been reduced to 250 crore rupees, which essentially means more companies, CPSEs, would be brought under the TREDS platform. With inclusion of more CPSEs under the TREDS platform, the MSMEs now can assess or can basically get access to more and more financial, let's say, usage of these receivables. They can use these receivables, sell them, and with inclusion of more CPSEs, the MSMEs will be able to get the assistance in the TREDS platform now. Again, when I say assistance, they will sell the receivables, they will get the financing. That's it. So, the inclusion into the TREDS, the criteria, the turnover has been reduced. In addition to this, government also has announced that they would be looking at the insolvency and bankruptcy code. It has been implemented since 2016 now. Though IBC has helped in recovering lot of, let's say, the money which is stuck up in the system, there are certain problems with the functioning of insolvency and bankruptcy code. And again, we have been discussing this particular issue as well. So now, in the budget, it has been announced, they will have a relook. They will have a look at the system, review the system, appoint or set up more and more tribunals so that the cases resolution will increase and the recovery of the credit will also increase. Right, so this is one more important announcement. Next, regarding the taxes, that is basically for the foreign companies in India, regarding the corporate taxes, the corporate tax rate which is applicable right now for the foreign companies is 40%. The finance minister announced that this will be reduced to 35%, so that more foreign companies will be interested in the Indian market now. It has been reduced to 35%. In addition to this, to promote, right, let's say the properties being registered in the name of women, the government of India said it will be basically talking to the state governments, trying to revamp the stamp duty structure in India, and it would ask the state governments to reduce the stamp duty on the property registered in the name of the woman. I hope you understand. I'll repeat it. If the stamp duty is registered in the name of the woman, if the property is registered in the name of the woman, the stamp duty applicable should be reduced. Right? So these are certain very important announcements which have been done by the finance minister in the recently presented union budget on the floor of the parliament. Again, reminding all of you, today at 8 p.m, me and Chetan sir will have a detailed discussion live on this YouTube channel. Please do join us. If you are yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the subscription button and also switch on the notification so that when these videos will go live, you will be notified by the YouTube. That's it from my side. We'll meet again at 8 p.m. with detailed discussion on the union budget. Thank you. Have a great day.